right, so we are here with Stephanie Ott, who is the Director of Development with the Metroplex Womens Clinic. And so we're grateful that she is joining us. And that is your title, right? Director of Development. Did I get that right?
That's right.
Good, good. Just want to make sure. Yeah. So she is going to be sharing a little bit about what does Metroplex Women's Clinic do, what is her role in that, and then we'll have some Q&A after that, just about how can we be involved and some more things. So Stephanie, we'll just give it over to you and just share with us a little bit about what's on your heart this morning.
Okay, thanks, Pastor Ben and Pastor Allen. Southfield, it's an honor to get to talk to you guys today. You guys have been longtime supporters, and we are really grateful for that. The reason that Metroplex Women's Clinic exists is because of the issue of abortion in America. We were founded in 1984 to provide an alternative. Some of the sweet ladies in Arlington kind of looked around and saw that there was really a need to provide a hopeful answer to people who were dealing with unplanned pregnancies. And originally, we were founded with a one-room clinic down on Main Street with a file cabinet and a couple of chairs. And I think that's how they got going. And since then, we've developed into 3 brick and mortar clinics. We have a mobile unit, and we've seen over 98,000 clients in those ensuing years. The ministry of Metroplex Women's Clinic is undergirded with a couple of truths. One, that we're all created in the image of God, and one of his first gifts to us was breathing the breath of life. And so life is sacred because of that. And then just knowing that when people are hurting and fearful, that they need to be met with compassionate care. And that's what we do at Metroplex Women's Clinic. And we try to educate our clients. We try to equip them and empower them to make a life-saving choice. And one of the things we've always said through the years is that if you save the mother, you save the child. And in recent years, really the last couple of years, we've really started reaching out to men, because we know that women don't get pregnant by themselves and that men influence the decision. And so we really have some great guys now who are sitting down and talking through the complex issues of becoming a father when somebody didn't plan that, and helping them to find that path for life. So that's kind of a big overview of what we do at Metroplex Women's Clinic. We use the tool of ultrasound. We know that most women that are considered at risk or abortion-minded, once they see an ultrasound, a baby moving, a heartbeat, they recognize that it's not just their body, that they are holding a real live baby in their womb, and that baby is worthy of life. We see that decision made for life so many times. Around 90% of women will choose life. Sometimes women don't, and we know that often that leads to a lot of emotional pain and issues. And so another thing we do is post-abortion care. We have a post-abortion care group that meets a couple of times a year in a retreat format, and that's been really successful. I myself am post-abortive, and that's kind of how I got called into the ministry. I wanted to make a difference and maybe help somebody else choose life. To talk about me just real briefly, I had some sexual abuse issues, a lot of divorce in my family, not a father in the home. So when I was a teenager, I looked to all the wrong things to comfort myself and to make myself feel valuable. And in doing so, I wound up being pregnant and chose abortion and experienced a lot of pain from that. But now I'm living a life of redemption. When I was about 20, the Lord just really hunted me down and showed me, this is a choice for life and this is a choice for death. Choose life, I'll help you. And so he saved me, redeemed me, and brought me lots of healing. And then after probably about 20 years, I started working at the pregnancy center. And although my role has changed in the last 13 years there, I still get to meet with clients, meet with them probably once or twice a week whenever they have a full schedule or a girl comes in and they really want somebody to talk to her who's been there. So I still get to serve that way. And then the other things I'm doing are talking to churches about what we do and trying to let you guys know that this is a mission that's worthy of supporting. Not only do we, kind of minister to the poor and help the hurting that way, we're also sharing the gospel. Most of our clients will choose to meet with somebody to talk over their situation from, God's perspective. There's a story about a guy who, the stenographer actually led the couple together to the Lord. And the first question the dad asked afterwards was, how does God feel about abortion? What does God say about abortion? And so we want to be there when people are really sincerely evaluating their choice from a spiritual standpoint. And because of that, we see lots and lots of clients and partners and other family members pray to receive Christ through the ministry. So this is a mission worthy of prayer and support. And Southfield, you guys are part of that, and we're grateful. So I don't know. What else would you like to know?
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. That's very helpful. Yeah,
You're welcome.
Well, Stephanie, let me ask you this. You talk about the fact that Southfield has been a part of the support for Metroplex Womens Clinic for many years. Southfield came into being in 1994. I'm not exactly how soon after that we began supporting Metroplex Womens Clinic, but I know it was pretty soon thereafter.
Yeah.
So it's always been a part of our mission. How do you guys get support for your work? I know that a great deal of it comes from churches, but what are the other sources of funding and volunteers and resources that help you guys carry out your mission?
Yeah, so it's mainly individuals. That's the primary source of support, and then churches, and then there's some grant writing and some extra support we can get for a little help with services, but it's mainly individuals and churches.
And how much is too little? Is there an amount that's too little for an individual to contribute?
Oh, absolutely not.
That's a little question. I knew that was going to be your answer.
Yeah. Every little bit helps. And the other thing I forgot to mention about support, another way people can support is shopping at Arlington Resale with your neighbor Shannon.
With my neighbor Shannon, that's exactly right.
Right.
But yeah, there's no gift that's too little because, it's like the widow's mite. It's like whatever the Lord leads us to give, he uses that to make an impact.
Right. Very good.
That's awesome.
Well, what has changed in the work of Metroplex Womens Clinic over the years? How is there a difference now in the clients that you are seeing who are coming in for help and support as to what you used to see? What's the situation behind a lot of the clients that you're seeing now?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think initially it was like in 1984, the view of an unplanned pregnancy is a lot different than it is today. Society has changed a whole lot. So it kind of has gone from, maybe like a shame, a stigma against it, to it being more of a monetary thing, or it's interfering with my plans. And maybe some more shallow kind of things. And truthfully, we see a lot of girls who will tell us that they're Christians. So, I think that the church's view of sexuality and maybe communicating that to people, it's just kind of changed. And maybe sex outside of the marriage covenant it doesn't have a stigma to it anymore. So it's really, I feel like it's more of a financial issue that we're having to target. and that life can still go on. You can still reach your goals and dreams. Your time frame may change, but those things can still be achieved. Did I answer your question?
Well, yeah, and kind of what you're saying is, one, that doesn't have the stigma that it used to have. Two, a lot of the reason that you hear from people coming in is it's an interruption with their plan for their life, as opposed to a huge interruption to, never planned on something like this happening. And so it's like, I want to deal with this for a matter of convenience, not because of a matter of shame.
Yeah.
One of the things that we hear about, and you haven't talked about this, but we receive, communications from different groups that are advocating against pornography and things like that, talking about the linkage between the providing of abortion services and sex trafficking. Do you guys see any linkage there in the counseling that you do in the women's clinic?
Absolutely, we do. One of the things that we, how should I put this? Like a client that we might often see might be someone who's called a dancer. They call themselves a dancer, and they'll come in with a guy who's their friend, they'll say, but it's all about, he's the one that will make the decision. So when we hear things like that, we know what we're dealing with. And it's pretty common, actually. One of the things we try to do is educate all of our counselors on the issue of trafficking and what that might look like when they're sitting with a client. And, when I say it's fairly often, I do mean fairly often they will see that.
How does the client
Arlington is a hub.
Yeah. How does
say that again, Ben?
How does a client like that find y'all? Like, how do they get referred to y'all? How does that happen?
Yeah. So we do have a website that we seed the website with words that would attract someone that might be interested in abortion.
Okay.
So it is clear on there that we don't perform them, but that we can help them. Like, we're their first stop. Our services are free. So if you have any question, come to us and find out for sure if you're pregnant.
Yeah.
And if you are pregnant, how far along you are. And the pregnancy test is free. The ultrasound is free. The nurse consultation, all of that is free. So primarily it's the website. And then secondarily, it's word of mouth, because when we meet with clients, they're met with compassion and care and non-judgment. So even someone who's really saying, I absolutely am going to have an abortion, they're going to talk to somebody that is going to treat them respectfully and compassionately, and that keeps women coming back. Yeah.
Good. Great. Thanks.
And keeping their friends coming. So.
If a woman visits you because they want the free counseling and they want to be able to talk things out with you, how many times do they visit you before they make a decision? Do they typically make a decision on their first visit, or is it 2 or 3 visits? What do they do?
Yeah, I would say most often it's the first visit. Typically, if someone is abortion minded, they will probably do the pregnancy test and the ultrasound and all that counseling in one day, and they will get invited back. Like maybe they were early or they just weren't sure yet. We'll get those girls back in. Sometimes there's a little gap, but typically I'll say 1 to 3 times that they'll come in. And then after that, we have ongoing support with classes for pregnancy and parenting and things like that. So we are developing relationship with them through those things. And then we also have one-on-one spiritual mentoring, which is a discipleship thing called Let's Talk.
Right. Right. Good. So part of what you're trying to do, as much as the client will let you, is you're trying to build a relationship, not just to have you're not wanting to have an argument with somebody. You're not trying to condemn somebody, but you're wanting to build a relationship in the hope that they will choose life. how successful do you think that you guys are in being able to do that?
Oh, that's a great question. Let me see if I've got something in front of me. I was just kind of working on something the other day, and like the number of clients I was looking at, like of all the clients that were considered at risk, meaning they told us they were going to have an abortion, or they were vulnerable, like they'd had one in the past, or somebody was telling them they should do that. Of all those clients in 2020, we had 812. And then tracking wise, I could see that 39 had chosen abortion. So that's a pretty good number.
Mm-hmm.
It's bigger than we would like it to be, but
yeah,
that's pretty good out of 812.
Less than 5% if my West Texas math is correct. But,
yeah. Could you share maybe a few more just numbers, statistics from the last year about how many clients do y'all see? How many do you share the gospel with? That do you have that?
Sure. Let me look at something real quick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so in 2020, we saw 5,178 clients,
wow.
and that includes being in the middle of a pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't talked about that any, but one of the things that we saw early on is an increase in abortion-minded clients, because the fear about the pandemic and what was going to happen, that was really impacting people. So we were excited to see that. We did 1,254 ultrasounds, 2,348 pregnancy tests. We had 1,438 clients attend our free classes, which was great. We did our first ever diaper giveaway days. We did 3 throughout the year, and we served 569 clients. And I think my CEO did the math on that. Like we gave away like 30,000 diapers or something like that. But in all of that, last year alone, 266 clients and family members prayed to receive Christ. So that's pretty good, having pared down our services a little bit and just change things up so much to keep everybody safe and all that stuff. So yeah, 2020 was a pretty big year.
Wow.
For the pregnancy center.
Wow. And opened a new location as well.
Yeah. Yes, open the new location.
Stephanie, what about you identified yourself as being post-abortive? What about the woman who has had an abortion, or maybe even had multiple abortions? She's not at the place where she's pregnant now, but she's dealing with the impact of what her previous decisions have meant for her and the baby that she carried. What kind of resources does Metroplex Womens Clinic have for helping that woman come to terms with that and begin working through the issues?
Yeah, so we do have one-on-one counseling. Like I'm somebody that would meet with a woman that might be dealing with that. And then we also have the post-abortion retreats that we do a couple times a year. And it's a very gentle process of, just kind of examining life choices, how you got to that choice, looking at it from the Lord's point of view, and just kind of dealing with it spiritually. And then once they begin to do that and there's repentance, then they begin to receive forgiveness and really understand what forgiveness means. When God says he forgives, that's it. It's not for us to bring it back to him. He's forgiven. So it's really helping them to bask in what God has done for them. And then the hope of heaven, that that little ones will be seen one day. Mm-hmm. So the lady who leads that, Debbie Burrow, she's done that for, she's been doing it since the 90s at least. Wow. So she's got a great heart for women. And one of the things we haven't talked about, I sort of touched on it a little bit in saying that a lot of the girls who come to us will identify as Christians. What the statistics tell us nationwide is about 1 in 4 women sitting in churches have an abortion that they have in their past. And so that would mean there's an impact for the men there too.
Mm-hmm.
So we really try to make sure that that's known, that we're available to help.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. What are ways for men to be involved in what y'all do?
Oh. So we have a men's counseling program. Right now, we've got 2 guys who are helping us with that, and we need more. Those 2 guys are helping us on Monday nights, but we're open Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and we have 3 centers. So men can help by joining us in counseling. We also, need support in the community. Lots of times it's the guys that make that decision, like we're going to support Metroplex Womens Clinic, so we need that, and and we need prayer covering too.
Good. When a man comes and helps out in counseling, is that them sitting in with another, like with the counselor and a person, or is it like if someone volunteers, are they like one-on-one with the client? Like how does that work?
Yeah, they would be one-on-one with the client.
Okay.
So we always train counselors. They go through like a 6-week training or so, and we want to make sure they've seen every kind of client that comes in, and then they get released on their own.
Okay. Gotcha.
So our office managers have a like they know when the guys are going to be available to counsel. So if they have a girl that's wanting to come in at that same time, we say, hey, would your partner like to meet with a guy to talk over these issues too? And most often they say yes. So
Gotcha.
I was going to ask you that. When you talk about men being involved in counseling, are they counseling the men in the relationship? Are they counseling the woman who is considering divorce?
Yeah, we have them counsel the men. We feel like that's a less intimidating thing. But, there's opportunity for both clients to be in the room, for the male and the female to be in the room if that's what everybody wants. We try to be sensitive to what the needs of each couple are, and, help that, just help that male counselor meet with the guy in such a way where, it all feels doable. So. Yeah.
Good. We just got a couple minutes left. Alan, any other questions?
I've got a couple of questions. Next to last one is, we've just gone through a very contentious political season. We have the beginning of a new administration this week. What do you anticipate happening with the fight for life under the incoming administration?
Well, that's a big question.
I know it. Started to throw it at the end of the interview.
Yes. Well, the platform for the party that's been elected is a pro-choice platform. So with that being the majority in Congress and in the presidency, I think that we're going to see could possibly see some things rolled back. I expect there to be some fights in the Supreme Court, and I'm grateful for the conservatives that have been, the ones that are pro-life that have been placed in the court. So I think we're going to see some things. Vice President-elect Harris has brought some lawsuits that were definitely anti-pregnancy center and completely pro-choice all the way to the moment of birth. So it's a situation that demands believers pray.
So the fight for life is continuing. It's a critical fight, and it's going to become even more critical.
I would say so. Part of what we do with educating our clients is really helping them to understand like what's physically going on with the body. So a lot of girls will say, I didn't know that. I didn't know the heart was beating at this date. And so I feel like for pregnancy centers that, hitting the education and hitting with compassion is, going to continue to make a difference for life.
Stephanie, my last question is this. You've provided us with a PowerPoint, and I've not taken a look at that PowerPoint yet. If we wanted trusted resources for further learning so that we could learn more about about life and its beginnings and all of the implications of the work that Metroplex Women's Clinic is involved in, are those resources available? Is that something that the Women's Clinic could provide us with, that we could provide to Southfield?
Yeah, I would be happy to get some information together and send over. One thing that you guys can always look at is the state of Texas has issued a pamphlet called A Woman's Right to Know, and that's something we use to educate. And the state did a really good job in pointing out, all the facts.
Good.
And that no one can force you to have an abortion, and that it's important to get counsel from different sources, including spiritual. So I think that was a really nice thing that they did. And we use that when we are stepping a client through the information about abortion procedures and things like that. But we also have some other great resources that are helpful, like for parents. She's pregnant, now what do I do? Things like that. So we'd be happy to share those with you.
We would love to have that list, and we would put it on our website, for the Southfield website, under our resources link. So thank you.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, Stephanie, thank you for joining us this morning, even by Zoom. We're very grateful for what you and Metroplex Women's Clinic does in our city and beyond. And it is great to simply get to learn more about that and how we can be involved in that. And we have some a bunch of donated items that we'll be bringing by in the very, very near future. So we look forward to seeing y'all and doing that. So.
That's great. Thank you so much, Southfield. We love you guys.
Thanks.